confused, everyone.
Let's get dangerous.
This is so cool.
I know.
It feels so right.
Jake silly.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Nice try, Moonman. Pretending not to know. Earth's greatest mastermind.
You just made the list.
I thought you said that was a myth.
Just because it's a myth doesn't mean it's not true.
If you all blindly follow my plan, we may have a chance.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
Game on, you ducks. Let's do our return of the speedrun recap show to give you the top notes you need to know if you didn't watch every single week one game like I did, and hopefully you didn't suffer through that 4 p.m. slate. Oof, that was a rough one. But let's talk Egbuka. Let's get him right out of the gate. It was a fun week one. Emeka Egbuka, great start, great big game for his debut. Makes Mike Evans, in my opinion, a nice buy low. Evans will obviously have better games. Egbuka will still have value, likely even when Chris Godwin comes back. It's going to make it a real interesting situation between he and Godwin. But at least for now, Egbuka stays in all of your lineups, no question about it. But I would go buy low on Mike Evans if I could. The Dylan Sampson time might be short. Quinshon Judkins signed his contract, by the way, fully guaranteed contract, which makes it interesting, but whether the NFL still suspends him, whatever it might be, I'd still get Sampson in half a full point PPR if he's floating out there. I do think he can have Austin Eckler value even when Judkins comes back. Maybe it's a little bit more spotty, but I think he's still somebody that could be a running back value for teams that need some running back help. In deeper leagues, yes, Harold Fannin is an interesting one to stash. I wouldn't expect that consistent production every single week, but the more concerning part is that David Njoku was sharing a lot with him. And if Cedric Tillman continues his nice play and continues to be kind of almost like a breakout candidate this year, and Fannin is getting involved in the short to intermediate game, we could be concerned about Njoku, and actually Mike can be concerned about Jerry Jeudy as well. The Ollie Gordon possible timeshare situation, it's tough to get anything out of the Dolphins in week one. Man, they were terrible. Mike McDaniel is already on the hot seat. Mike McDaniel doesn't look like he's adjusted much to the NFL adjusting to him. But with all that being said, Gordon is definitively still a handcuff to hold on to. If anything happens to Etienne, we'll have to see better games going forward. There weren't a lot of snaps, 7 carries to 2, and some of it was garbage time for Ollie Gordon. I'm not dropping him, especially, again, if Etienne gets hurt, but we're obviously going to have to wait and see how much he's used in a normal game. On the flip side of that one, I did want to bring up that Josh Downs was only used in 3 wide, and as expected, Tyler Warren in that short to intermediate game with Jones is going to hurt Josh Downs, even though I think they can play well together. Well, when Tyler Warren is getting all what he's getting and Michael Pittman is back to healthy, there's really only 2 options you're probably going to get out of Daniel Jones. Back in the Raiders game for the Patriots, I think that Travion Henderson is a nice buy low candidate. Some people are probably disappointed with him. The interesting thing with that is it's going to be a little bit more timeshare than we might have thought from the preseason use. But again, I brought up before, I don't need Henderson to have more than 200 touches to be an RB2. That was the biggest thing, is people expecting the RB1 value probably overshot a little bit. Kayshon Boutte for the Patriots. Deeper leagues, sure, because he's running out there as the starter. Obviously, don't expect that kind of volume every single game. For the Saints, as long as Spencer Rattler is the starter, yes, if you need a tight end, George Kittle is out, whatever it might be. Juwan Johnson could be your answer. Out there almost the entire game, running a ton of routes, getting targets. Honestly, could be the 1 and 2. It could be Olave with Juwan Johnson as the 2. Rashid Shaheed got some shots downfield, but Rattler kind of lives with Juwan Johnson in his last 3 games, over 9 targets each, including the one from yesterday. For the Steelers, wow. Yes, we got the contract for Jaylen Warren. Yes, Jaylen Warren was like, hey, yeah, we're going to get RB2 value and more because they're not even impressed with Caleb Johnson yet. Okay, that was cool. Didn't happen. Kenneth Gainwell was the answer. 50-50 split. If you need a running back in deeper leagues, I would pick up Kenneth Gainwell. I do not expect Kenneth Gainwell to continue to hold value of that level, but hey, we've been surprised by stranger things, and if Caleb Johnson's a non-factor as a rookie, the Steelers are going to use 2 running backs. Well, and speaking of 2s, Roman Wilson is not the 2. Calvin Austin is clearly the 2. I had hope for Roman Wilson. You guys know that. I was saying stash him in deep leagues. Maybe he can break through finally if he can overtake Calvin Austin. He did not. Austin's clearly the 2. On the Jets side of that game, Breece Hall, 1-2 punch in that backfield, but it doesn't matter that the 2 punch is Braylon Allen. As Breece Hall showed, he can be fine on a per-touch basis. Even better than Travion Henderson, because he's getting a few more touches. I think Breece Hall is going to still be an RB2 because there's the risk of some of those goal line carries, and of course, Justin Fields taking it himself. But Breece Hall looks like he will be just fine this year. Also, speaking of a tight end that barely left the field, Mason Taylor barely left the field. You guys know I was promoting Mason Taylor in deeper leagues. It might take some time. It might not even happen with Justin Fields because of how few passes that he might have on a week-to-week basis. But Mason Taylor was out there a ton. For the Giants game, Commanders, Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt right out of the gate. Chris Rodriguez, inactive on game day. Thought it might be a slow... We got reports that it might be a slow turn for Croskey-Merritt because he hadn't played but one game since 2023. Nope, it's the Croskey-Merritt-Eckler combo show, and we love it. On the flip side, Tyrone Tracy was not really much of a combo with Cam Scatterby, although Cam Scatterby did get that one goal line carry. And this game was kind of wonky for the Giants because that's what we're expecting a lot of this year. Maybe Jackson Dart changes things when they turn to him, but Tyrone Tracy also wasn't super effective on a per-touch basis. Not the best matchup. We'll be watching going forward. Stash Scatterby, especially if somebody drops him, because this could turn into like a Steelers-like split. Travis Etienne is back. Can I victory lap that? Maybe. I wasn't super high. I'm not going to victory lap this one because I wasn't super high. I did like Etienne the most. You guys do know that. But I wasn't expecting it to be that good. The good part about it, too, is Liam Cohen, as expected, is letting the Jaguars run more pre-snap motion, which helps everybody, especially the wide receivers. Speaking of wide receivers, Travis Hunter was 3 wide sets primarily. Something to be thinking about going forward. They do run and will run a lot of 3 wide, but just as a limited to his ceiling that it might hold off as nothing more than a wide receiver 3 for his rookie year, which is still really good. And I don't think many people were drafting him higher than that. So that's good. You're going to get the value that you wanted. On the Panthers side of that game, is Bryce Young a reverse pumpkin? Like, is it, we're going to get terrible until Halloween and like last year, it's actually, I guess that was actually even too early. And then he's going to turn from being a pumpkin into something great, the amazingness that we saw late last year, whatever it might be. Bryce Young was awful. Bryce Young looked like early first half last year Bryce Young. And if so, and if this carries over, wow, this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad for everybody involved. The only people you're going to want is Chuba Hubbard and McMillan. Xavier Legette was out there a ton. He had the second most targets, but deep league stash only, especially if Bryce Young continues to play like this. But at least hold on to him for one more week where you can, because if Bryce Young just happened to come out of the gate week and maybe he bounces back in week 2, whatever it might be. But, prayers up for Bryce Young. The Titans, hey, here's a rookie that we do like. Alec Ayamanar, yes, starts as the number 2 and stays out there as number 2. It's a really bad start for everybody out there. Calvin Ridley and Ayamanar and Cam Ward had to face the Broncos defense. But very interesting, if nobody picked up Ayamanar and you need a wide receiver, stash him. The Broncos backfield in that game is going to continue to be a headache. Tyler Batty involved, everybody involved. This is what Sean Payton loves to do and make us bang our heads against the wall. At some point, RJ Harvey probably leads and wins out, but I don't think it's going to be a top 15 type of value because of, well, it's Sean Payton. On the wide receiver side, this is something to watch right out of the gate. Marvin Mims was going to be the 2. I finally got me to buy into Marvin Mims as a wide receiver 4. Nope. Troy Franklin was the number 2. Marvin Mims, similar to his late season usage from last year. What? The pork chop sandwiches. I'm not dropping Marvin Mims unless I absolutely have to, but go grab Troy Franklin, because if the immediate flip happened and show him, I can't believe this is 49ers, how about Ricky Pearsall? Even before Juwan Jennings got hurt, and even so going forward, especially if there's no George Kittle. On the Seahawks side, I mentioned early in the preseason, before games even happened, that the reports from the team were that Kenneth Walker was supposed to be the bell cow, and then I joked and said, well, you can't be the bell cow if you're not on the field. Well, he wasn't even the bell cow. Charbonnet was the better option, and we're looking at like a real split going forward. Maybe Kenneth Walker still isn't 100%, whatever it might be, but if you drafted Charbonnet, yay for you. If you drafted Kenneth Walker, don't panic yet, hopefully. Cooper Kupp, have patience. This is all Jackson Smith and Jigba all day long. Not going to be able to do that every single week, but hey, if you did draft Jackson Smith and Jigba, yay. And that's a lot of yays for some of my leagues. Texans, Nick Chubb is the new Mixon. It's going to be volume reliant. And yay, Jaden Higgins, how about that, is the number 2, as we were saying, for the Texans. Led the Texans in receiving yards, everybody. It was only 32 yards. C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense needs a bounce-back game. The Ravens have some concerning situation for Mark Andrews. You would think with no Isaiah Likely, hey, stock up, more snaps. I have Andrews in a few leagues. That was not the case. Rotated almost just as much with Charlie Kohler. Bad news. It's probably going to get even worse when Isaiah Likely comes back. So again, another one where I'm not dropping Andrews, but you might be already thinking, hey, I need a backup plan in place. What else do we got from this game? Keon Coleman clearly over Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer didn't help himself by watching that almost interception happen. And no, I'm not banking on a Keon Coleman bounce around touchdown, but the fact was he was out there the most. And so if we're looking for that Keon Coleman breakout season, at least positive, and every single game is not going to involve 40 points. But Keon Coleman, stock up from that game. Joshua Palmer, stock down a little bit. And then to go all the way back to the Friday game, Hollywood Brown, you have to pick him up. We know this, and it's going to be a ticking clock because Rashee Rice is coming back. But with Xavier Worthy out, Hollywood Brown, all the targets, still couldn't get 100 yards, fell barely short. Jalen Royals probably back at some point, but as the closer we get to that, the closer we get to Rashee Rice coming back. Maybe flip Hollywood Brown in inexperienced leagues where you can know what you're doing there. Yeah, pull the hole, grab him off the waivers and trade him. And I know a lot of people see that and like, oh, I know you just grabbed him off waivers, so I know you want to trade him. But heck, you can still get help if you don't need him at all. I do think Pacheco is a good buy low as well. I think better days are coming. He is clearly, though, I will say this, best case RB2, score reliant, and hey, the Chiefs are going to score, so that should be good. But early down option, the Kareem Hunt usage, Brashard Smith, as I thought Brashard Smith could be Jerick McKinnon-like this year, it's even involved more with Kareem Hunt and the fact that it might be first, second down, short yardage only for Pacheco, which is a little concerning. And of course, Quentin Johnston, everybody. Is he Kevin Ogletree? Possibly. Do you want to take the shot on this? Yes, also, because he was out there, tons of routes, almost as much as Lad McConkey, ahead of Keenan Allen, who is primarily 3 wide, which is fine. And I do think that the Chargers are going to be a little bit more run balanced in other games, not against the Chiefs, not in the kind of matchup against the run defense that the Chiefs have. All that being said, you got to take the shot on Quentin Johnston. It's a first-round talent, third-year breakout. You can make every reason you want, and you might drop him in 3 weeks if he pulls the Kevin Ogletree, but you at least take a flyer on him. But all that being said, also no, I'm not going to go throw 30% of my fab on him. So get him where you can, but don't go crazy. Be back Wednesday for the long-form show. Got you everything you need, around 10, 12-ish minutes, and we'll talk to you. I will. Maybe Barkley's going to talk too? I don't know. Whatever it might be. Show's over.